Yo, it's ODB from OLP. This is issue 81 of Mini Truckin magazine, September 1998. You'll see there it is the 10th year anniversary, and it's the third time that Ballistic appears on a cover, the second time for Mini Truckin, and really this was a sister publication here, Hot Mini Trucks Pictorial. So, of course, you see they were able to use the photo shoot there as well. And this is one that I don't think I've been through, but I'll go through at some point. But basically, a lot going on here in this issue, more than meets the eye, I guess you can kind of say. A few things here to point out. You have Sky Body. So Sky Body appears on our River Run remix, a merchandise. This was the oldest feature from this cover. So the kind of the collage, if you will, it was featured in Winter 1990, issue 6, and that was Brian McCormick shot it. Then you had January 93, which is Ballistic. So famed truck. It's hard to believe next year is going to be the 30th anniversary of it appearing on the cover. That was, of course, Shartsis and Courtney that shot that one technically, if I remember correctly, based upon the feature. That was issue 23, again, January 93. And then you have Last Look. So December 96, issue 60. And we talked a lot about that one being Sean Carlson, rest in peace. Kind of really his last, I think I said it whenever we got to it. It was his last credited cover in terms of a photo shoot. But I knew that this one also, if you break it down, you got BMC, Courtney and Shartsis, and Sean Carlson, as far as credits there. Now, something else to point out, this is the start of the third editor. So Stillwell was technically 48 issues, but if you really break it down and you look at from like 88 was the one issue, and then, let's say a complete from 89 to 96, really, if they had a monthly issue, Steve Stillwell would have came in at about 96 to 100 issues as the editor, but technically they weren't monthly like we talked about before. So Stillwell was technically the editor for 48 issues. Shartsis comes in at 32. He was February 96, I believe, to August 98, which would have been the issue before this. So about 2.5 years, he actually came in at 32 issues, technically as the editor. So enough with the slicing and dicing. We see Rhonda again as well on the cover, and it's a damn good one. I still remember picking this one up on the newsstands. The other thing that's key on this one is, as I mentioned, with Shartsis no longer being the editor for whatever reason, we never really got into that. There's obviously, with magazines, there's always going to be changes. Courtney steps in as the editor, and it's a damn good issue. Here we celebrate the 10th anniversary milestone, and we see Pat Nichols' Ballistic, Toyota, the Ballistic Toyota, Mike Collins. I was texting with him last weekend. He's been a guest on as well. Skyscrape and Sky Body, Nissan, and then Dion's Last Look. Ironically enough, we've had all three of these owners on the podcast, and I think it's just awesome, the stuff that we're able to do here. So we thank all the kinfolk out there. Really, in my book, I truly feel if this wasn't the anniversary issue, this would have been the cover. I mean, really, I think a lot of us look at it and go, man, that really should have been the cover. If you think about it, like, it should have been a cover truck, okay, in that version. It's no slight against these guys, because I actually dig, like, this to me, you had to do something for the 10th anniversary. And because the first issue was summer 88, this is basically right around that time. We had the preview to the 10th anniversary in the last issue. So you had to do something. So again, this, awesome, love it. But I do believe that, this really could have easily been the a cover truck, in that version. So, again, we'll kind of jump in here. You kind of see a few things going on. Now, I wanted to preface, because here is where Courtney mentions he's sitting here pounding his head on the desk trying to figure out how to tell all his old friends that I'm back, or that he's back. I thought about different ways to put it on paper and what I wanted to say, but none of them came out right. he kind of goes on here to say, after a nearly 3-year-long diversion, I have been asked to return to Mini Truckin, this time as editor. So we knew that he had been shooting because we just, saw Lomigo, that epic of cover. And you can see here again, when we look at the facts, there is the first time we see Courtney as editor. So we'll talk about it. Although his stay here does not last long, we'll, of course, get through those issues potentially in the coming 2 weeks. So more to come there. So again, I appreciate all you guys coming back, feeling good today, and really appreciate you guys watching these all the way through. It really helps us. So here is a show that we've seen before, Azalea, Azalea. I can't say that. I messed some of these up. And but you can see kind of the vibe here, super sick. And we have tagged the owner of this, GMC Sonoma, in the past. I think Master Image Customs, if I remember correctly, it was next to Westside at one of the Cow Truck Jams in that video that we posted in the past. Super clean S10. I had the same intake deal. Mine was from a company called Hot Shot. And that thing was super cool, man. It was super easy to install and move the air cleaner down out of the way. And when I had the truck body dropped originally, the hood was cut, and you could see that chrome sticking through the hood where Matt Torgerson had cut it. And I remember people asking me if I had a supercharger. It's like if they only knew my truck was a 4-cylinder with a chrome intake. But when you think about the legacy of the magazine, getting through 10 years was a big feat. And, for any magazine, but definitely you can see the Chop Shop windshield banner there. But any magazine getting through the first 10 years is definitely a feat. And, you want to celebrate that, and that's what they did here. You can see here, still got the little deals in, pretty clean issues overall. And that's why, one of the reasons why I'm sharing these, because again, they do no good being looked at once every 10 years, in my binders. Here, okay, boom. I knew I wasn't seeing things like no other, right? So here we see the S10 returns, and I don't think it's Photoshop. I do think they shaved the corner light. I think. What do you guys, did anybody ever see this truck in person? Ironically enough, I was recording audio with LMC last night from Lowest Common Denominator, and we were just talking about some of our favorite mods, least favorite mods. This one's got the rare, kind of the more rare valence on it, with the hook openings. But I always remember this, and I love mods on mini trucks. It's just not in me to like these shaved corners on these body style trucks. On others, I actually really dig it. I think it looks great, but I don't know. Is it just me? What do you guys think? But anyways, I thought I remembered that. Here we see Bobby Billiard again on the cover with Master Image Customs. You see that BMC. I think that was Brian's vehicle. He had posted that one time. That's a cool issue of Truckin'. But yeah, you got Firestone here in the mini market. So again, a lot going on. If you think about 10th anniversary issue, but then also a changing of the guard, if you will, with Shartsis departing the publication. It was odd that the previous month, if you guys recall, he didn't have the editorial that month. So, again, not to get into, why people leave their jobs or whatever. That's neither here nor there. That's not really something I like to cover here on the podcast. But we do like to kind of keep everybody straight on like how, who was at the reins of the magazine during those eras. Because it's, it's a part of the history of the magazine. So compact discs, Downey makes back binders budgetable. So kind of became a big thing, and a lot of cars, I think most now come with rear disc brakes. I was never one to really be good at messing with drum brakes. Tony has taught me some, and we had to mess with them on my 64 Lincoln. Here, a super clean Toyota. You can see the crazy customs on the lower back windshield. and Randall Jackman. Seen his name throughout the magazine. Okay, so pretty cool. So Chris Schmidt was on the podcast. Chris, this was his Sonoma. A couple things about it. Colorado Custom Wheels. You got Hot Rod Christina. So Christina with the K. She did the rendering. Courtney and Chris had a great relationship. And, Courtney has said, hey, look, this truck's going to get on the cover eventually. And he helped. And Chris kind of talked a little bit about that. It ties in the street trucks as well. We talked about it, but I'll kind of tie that in once we start going through some of the street trucks issues. But better late than never. I look at Chris Schmidt's Sonoma, and you may recall this was featured in black when it was black paint in the publication many issues ago. Outkast Oval. I always thought this was a cool truck. Pretty cool colors, and just badass. What do you guys think of some of these trucks? If you guys know the owners, I know some of you have been chiming in with a lot of intel or saying, yo, that was my truck. Really appreciate it. Really, part of the other reason why we started the podcast is just to kind of bring back some of these memories. There's a lot of good stuff, a lot of good memories from, I'm sure, many of you out there going to truck runs, reading these magazines, back when there wasn't as much to do, it seemed like, in terms of technology. There was plenty to do going cruising or hanging out with the homies, but from a technology standpoint, you could almost sit on your phone all weekend and not even leave your couch. Super clean Mazda. I really dig the style, the sunroof, some billets, some chrome accents. And then there's the Blazer again that I recall seeing on the NC website in Texas, the Texas chapter. You can see, I always love these grills, but you can see, I guess, you had to cut the grill with that install, so you could kind of see where it dips right there. That's where, the factory pieces were, but not taking away from it at all. I think it's badass. Wish I had one of those hanging on the wall. Here's Tulo Taco. So again, look at this layout. One, it's the centerfold. So easily could have been taken out to hang on the wall. By Courtney Hallowell, photography, the Mini Truckin staff. Now, this one, if anybody could chime in, I'm assuming Courtney shot it. I just never understood, if Courtney did shoot it, why wouldn't they just put photography by Courtney? Did Shartsis maybe shoot it? And Mike, I know you sometimes will watch these. If you can chime in, if you know, or if you did shoot it, that'll help us. I got to look back in my database and kind of see what I have, and we'll do that now. I have, yeah. Okay, so I don't have it down for this one because it wasn't the cover. So yeah, Tulo Taco. But really, again, you look at this, and they could have easily waited a month and ran it. The next one, of course, is West Coast Customs, the blue Mazda, Ryan Fringlinghaus's. But this one, with the feature that it received, it still was epic in many ways. Super clean. And if you think about like a mini truck, brand new, laid out, this was a big thing. I can't say it was the first. I mean, it might have been the first brand new truck laid out like this. I don't know. Someone would have to chime in with that. But of the era, we know Gendro had his hands in stuff like this. Now, I always consider this to be Gendro's, but it was back in 1982. Dan, here you can see his name. He kind of talks about his story. He decided to build a new truck, so I think it was technically Dan's, but he called upon, you see Brian's name there, Gendro, the owner of the Chop Shop. He told Brian to break out a new pack of Sawzall blades and a fresh spool of MIG welder wire. So again, I mean, you look at this and go, dude, epic. And I'll probably use this for the thumbnail. We'll have the cover, but really this is the main, outside of the 10th anniversary piece, this is the main kind of draw for this issue. We have video of this truck. I don't know if it was technically the debut, but I have shared that in the past. And I think I shared it on social media, possibly on YouTube. Super clean front end, shaved corners, right? I'm pretty sure. And just badass. Now, Eric Cryan built a badass Tacoma. I mean, there's a bunch of them, but he built a new one a couple years later. So his tag was 99N Dragon. And his was epic, one of my favorite trucks built. This always was something cool to me, how they did the little, you know, just the door. Looks like kind of a rhino line type deal with a bed liner. And although they weren't all color, you get a chance to see real sick stereo setup. I mean, this thing wasn't just a body drop brand new truck. I mean, it really had a lot going for it. When you think about some of the mods, it had graphics. The engine bay was super clean. The inside of the bed was kind of uncut except for the middle section. I mean, really, I mean, it's got everything, you know, saying, hey, I'm a cover truck, right? So, badass. If anybody has any other backstory on it, let me know. So I like to say happy anniversary. Happy anniversary to us. But of course, you know, tying in what most people say, happy birthday. You've got a lot of different stuff. You know, K-Daddy's truck. This was, that ran in Truckin. And you've got some over the course of time. Chris Anders, that appeared on our River Run remix shirt. Epic stuff all around. Some of these you guys may not even remember. Just, I mean, so many different names, and it's hard to start just rattling them all off. But, you know, you start to get in this era, many of us remember. I really liked when they did these type of issues. You know, a lot of these we've went through. We had Lee Bauer on, thanks to Ruben. That was an epic truck. Here's Nick's Mazda. Ballistic in front of that kind of two-car garage. 10th anniversary. Sky Body, Mike Collins again. That epic truck, we've talked about it. Here's Sal Napoli. We had Sal on as well. That truck was on 4 covers in 4 different versions. Insane. Here's Gerard's truck. That was kind of an issue that was tough for me to get, it seemed like. And some killer topless minis. But yeah, a lot of stuff. Some you guys will remember. Dan Marchese's famous Nissan that was in the tire ad, right? Brian McCormick, we've had him on. There is his Blazer. Here's Jeff Robbins' 88 D50. And then boom, we get to the non-color photos. Ruben Arteaga, the upper right. Back in March 92, we featured this Toyota, then owned by Eric Perkins. They say this was the first Mini with a body drop that ever appeared in Mini Truckin. So that was a big thing. I think we mentioned that when we went through the flip through. Mike Spinella built this Slammed 85 just under a year. So pretty cool stuff. But yeah, I mean, you definitely have to do, to me, the history piece of it, getting to that point is super important, you know, from the readers and just the historical aspect of the magazine. Here's Grounded. Of course, you don't see those as much, the GMC Sonoma front ends. If you like what we're doing here, leave a comment, thumbs up. Consider subscribing, share it with the homies, the chicas, and all the club mates. Fish heads. So Brian Euler's new bass boat hauler. Just something really awesome about these Blazers. I mean, there's so many different iterations. And you can kind of just see, like, although this one's a little bit more basic, man, I dig it. I drive this every day if I had it. Nice engine setup. And center lines. So it's got a V8 under the hood, of course. Looking fresh. Here is Stocking Stuffers, a modern movement, rocks Vegas. And another cool layout here, how they did these. You got the far side customs. You got the Toyota in the upper left. This was always cool to me, PSI ride. I thought it was pretty cool how they mounted the tank. You really didn't see a lot of trucks do that. Plus, it was airbrushed. You got the tiny compressor, which was of that era. But it was kind of cool on the back of the bed there. And looks good. This famous cover truck here. One of my favorite trucks of all times. I just love the colors. One of the reasons why. Here we can see Joe Musso's Yoda. Nissan, love that color. No Sympathy. Another super clean setup there. I always kind of dug that with a little bit of the pinstriping. And Mazda, you can see Joe's there as well. I mean, look at those setups right there. Musso and the Yoda. Here you got a Tacoma with the far side. That was the same back window we saw logo. Mike Murray, not the Mike Murray from OLP that used to be on the podcast. Mike couldn't catch up with that guy. Modern Movement member Mary Tapas showing off the Safari. So here you go, sketch pad. Definitely appreciate all of the return folks here. Some of you guys are always commenting. It definitely helps us. We're continuing to grow. And for anybody that's trying to grow their YouTube, I would just encourage you to keep doing it. You know, even with these videos being 20, 25 minutes, and as many mini truckers that are out there, you know, it's hard to get people to get kind of behind your own movement on what you're doing, whether it's a podcast or social media, or in this case, YouTube content. You just have to keep plugging away. We are slowly building our subscribers. This, I think, wasn't that that's the box, I believe, that was in the Master Image Customs last month, I think. Because I'm pretty sure it had the 2 ports there. I was trying to see if that was an S10 console, but it sure looks like it. Here's the old Mini Truckin hats. Man, to go back and be able to buy those for $10, I'd buy a couple cases of them. Here is Mixed Up, so a Chevy Love. And watching that Steve Mag on his YouTube channel, he had reinforced, and I guess I probably knew this, but LUV was like light utility vehicle. And of course, I did know that these were not made, they were made Chevrolet partnered with another OEM, which was, I think, Isuzu, right? But these trucks are really badass. And check this one out, long bed, the Loves. Hybrid gone through hell. So pretty cool stuff there. But light utility vehicle. Here you go, Nation's Finest. Super slick. Man, it's awesome just to go through these magazines. And I didn't flip through this one at all before I started. Just trying to keep the history alive. You got a Alter Images, Crazy Customs ad. It's great to keep the culture alive here. Mini Truckin for life. Mini Truckin Magazine's Movie Rental of the Month. Ultimate Fighting Championship. Any volume. You know I could have been a professional bowler. Notable quotable. Clint. Looks like. Here is top 5 reasons many truckers like to smoke their tires. It looks cool. Here is Love Line. What about Bob? That's a weird ass trick with your finger. Clint the Love Doctor Walker. Here is what's in the CD changer. Of course, you got Murder Was the Case. Just celebrated that anniversary of that. You call it an album. I call it a compilation, I guess. Here's again Pro Hopper from Crazy Customs. Cow Concepts paint. Second version, which was yellow. And then boom, I think Low Glow does a good amount of the back covers. I don't always stop on the back cover, but Low Glow All of this stuff is kind of coming full circle with underglow lighting, neons. We see it all the time. But again, a pretty epic issue. Again, Courtney comes back as the editor, or he comes, takes the reins. Here you've got Ballistic, Last Look, Sky Body. Kind of went through some of those past years and photographers that took those. I always loved how the Mini Truckin sticker was on the bucket. And then again, here is the same shoot, but and then it was on January 93. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Appreciate all the support. Stay on the rise. And check out Friday, new episode dropping. It's a Halloween spooktacular. LMC joins the show, and we have a lot of fun. We out ya. Peace.